have to be careful about how I sit. You know what? I will just cheat. And I will have this. There we go. No problems. If I want to sit like this, now it's not a problem. But yeah, what's up, y'all? Oh no, shield mode is on. Hi! Welcome. It is. Is today Wednesday? Because of spring break, like, I don't know what day it is anymore, so I think today is Wednesday. I'm a guess today is Wednesday, but I am not 100% sure, so if chat could tell me if it's Wednesday or not, that would be super helpful, because I don't know what day it is. Because, usually, like, I have, like, okay, the kids have taekwondo on Mondays, and then Tuesdays we don't have anything, and then Wednesdays I teach at church, and then Thursdays, nothing. Fridays, taekwondo. Saturdays, taekwondo. Sundays, church. Like it is Wednesday. Good. I'm so glad because I would like to go to Costco on Friday, so I need to make sure that that's on Friday and not tomorrow. To make sure that I get paid before I go to Costco. Hello in Chicago. I have never been to Chicago. I would like to go. I've driven through Chicago. I very much want to go to. I would very much like to visit Chicago. I told Mando Dad the next time that we drive to Wisconsin that we are definitely going to stop in Chicago for at least a day or two because I would like to visit Chicago. Mostly because I want to try some food. I would like to try Chicago deep dish pizza, and I would like to try a Chicago hot dog because I used to love the Chicago hot dogs when Sonic had them, and I was so mad when they stopped selling them to the point of where, like, I now make, except for the poppy seed bun, I make them at home. So yeah. It is a great foodie. Like, there's Chicago style specific things that I would like to try. But yeah, I very much would like to visit Chicago. Gene and Jude's for hot dogs. I'll have to remember that. Because, like, I grew up a stone's throw away from Philly, so, like, I'm used to Pat and Gino's, all nice and good. Those are the touristy ones, but there are much better cheesesteaks out there that are not Pat and Gino's. Or Gino's. For example, I grew up a stone's throw away from Philadelphia. We had a really, really, really good Philly cheesesteak place next in Lancaster. Like, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was right next to the hospital in downtown Lancaster. And I can picture the sign as like a cartoon of a guy eating a cheesesteak. He had like a mustache. It's very specific. So I'd very much like to, but they went out of business. Not that they went out of business, they just stopped being there. Somebody sent me a message. Why can I not see it? That's weird. Belle, if you send me a message, send me another message, because it's not, for some reason, it's not showing it. And I don't know why. It shows it, like, on the screen, but it's not showing it, in stream chat, which is weird. Gene and Jude's. I mean, I've been to New York. I've had New York style pizza. Like, I've done Pittsburgh is your vacation in July. Nice. Oh, look, my thing's finally finished printing. So I've been struggling this whole time to, like, print a new pendant for care. Okay, there we go. Grew up a hop, skip, and a jump from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've been to Louisiana. I've been to Louisiana. Have I been to Louisiana? Yeah, I've been to Louisiana. Wait, hang on. I have not been to Baton Rouge, though. I've been to New Orleans. New Orleans. That's the only place I've been to in Louisiana. So I have 3 travel goals in my life. I have 3, okay? Number 1 is to visit every single U.S. state. Number 2 is to visit every single continent. And number 3 is to visit every single Disney park. Now, as far as my United States travel map is gone, I'm over halfway, I think. Hey Paxton, that's gross, and I'm giving you a warning, and if you do anything like that again, I will have my mods take you out. Just saying. Don't be gross. We can be cool, just don't be gross, okay? Anyway, I've visited most U.S. states. I've done pretty much all of the South at this point. I've done everything in the Northeast except for Vermont and Maine. Have I been to Rhode Island? I think I've been to Rhode Island. I know I've been to Connecticut, and I know I've been to New Hampshire, but I can't remember if I've been to Rhode Island, so I guess I gotta visit Rhode Island again. I've done a good chunk of the Southwest. Only thing on the West Coast that I've been to is California. I haven't done the Pacific Northwest. And I'm missing, like, the northern states, like the northwest. The Midwest I've done Ohio, and I've done Wisconsin. I need to do Minnesota and Michigan and Illinois. I've done some things in Indiana, but like nothing that would really be of note. So like I said, I'm trying to work up. Grew in Acadia, but very east Acadia. Yeah, so that's my travel goals in life. I know that for like all of the continents, for things like Antarctica, if I go to Australia or South America, there are like mini trips that'll go from like the very tip of South America or Australia that'll take you like boat trip down to Antarctica and come back. For all the people that are like me, they're like, I just want to say that I've been to Antarctica. I don't need to stay there. So yeah, that's the goal, is to visit every single Disney park, every single continent, and every single US state. I've already been to Hawaii, so already there. Do I really crave food? Omni, so I will crave food if it's sometimes I will crave food right before I need to take my shot. Like it's Wednesday, so I take my shot on Thursdays. So yeah, I have some food cravings. I do occasionally crave like salad, I guess is a thing that I crave sometimes. Carrots, like I crave vegetables, weirdly enough sometimes. The other thing though is that I am a woman of childbearing age, and so like even on a GLP-1, it does not override hormonal cravings. I'll just put that out there. So that would not affect you. I do get food cravings, but like most of the time my food cravings are because I'm on a hormonal journey. Wait, am I? Am I what? Am I pregnant? No, absolutely not. Ick. But I am a woman of childbearing age. I am not, however, bearing any children. No thanks. I have 2. That is more than enough. Although sometimes, like, my kids will go around and, like, tell people that we're gonna have another baby, and I'm like, we are not. Because people will be like, oh, I'm so excited for you. And I'm like, oh, I don't know where my children are getting this information because it's not happening. Yeah, I have 2 hands. So 2 children. The Testament started. I never watched The Handmaid's Tale. I read the book. And then because I read the book, I had no interest in watching the show. Um, the book was traumatizing enough. I didn't need to watch the show. Um, I think based on where we are, what color is your veil? Veil? What do you mean by my veil? I don't understand the question, Bill. Veil. I think if this were Gilead, I might be lucky enough to be an Akano wife. Oh, what? Do I have a church veil? I don't have a church veil. So even though I do occasionally attend Catholic Mass, I don't veil when I go to Catholic Mass. I like the people that do. I definitely, to me, that is very respectful, and I love that people do that. I just don't do that. Some of it is because, like, it reminds me too much of my grandmother, who was not Catholic. My grandmother was Mennonite, but my grandmother was always had her covering on. Which, if you guys don't know, Mennonites are basically, in layman's terms, Mennonites are diet Amish. They're kind of like an Episcopalian or a Lutheran to a Catholic. They're just slightly more liberal. But my grandmother always had her hair in her covering. Like I did not, my grandmother did not cut her hair. My grandmother was in her 80s and her hair was down to her waist. Beautiful white hair. My grandmother had white hair. Like Storm from X-Men, white hair. It was gorgeous. Down to her butt. I mean, her hair was long and really pretty. Oh, and then she changed to a shaker. I mean, that's not too far off. I mean, to go from Anabaptist to shaker isn't that different. I think more interesting would be like going from Mennonite to Pentecostal. My mother is Catholic. She looks like my mother, and I look like my mother. Huh? I'm good, Kaden. How are you? Oh. What are we playing? What religion are you today? I do not change my religion. What, Kaden? Did you graduate? Yay! Congratulations! Everybody send hearts to Kaden in the chat. Yeah, I am not a child of the watch. Thank you very much. I don't want to be I have no interest in being a child of the watch. Hang on. This was from my salad earlier. The helmet stays on. Also, you guys encouraged me. I don't know what I've done, but I sent a message to that author of that. Okay, so we were having that discussion yesterday about that, story I wrote. And, aw, that's cute, Belle. I asked for permission from the person I based it off of if I could post my sequel. We'll see if that happens. We'll see. Maybe. I don't know. Not now. Hang on, I gotta set up my live goal so we can start. And it won't let me. There we go. Whatever that is. I don't know. What Mando should I take to college? My Black Series or Mayfex? Mayfex. Ooh, I got a Black Series for Easter. I got Smee from Skeleton Crew. Which, I mean, the Easter Bunny was very kind and found it on the clearance rack of Walmart. And by Easter Bunny, I mean me. I bought myself the Smee droid. Yeah, take your least valuable. Do not take anything of value to college. Just speaking from experience. Are we ready to read? You know, I'm still not sure about these jammies. Okay, because I had to get all new jammies because none of my jammies fit. They were all falling off my body. Am I having trouble? Are you still having trouble with Jen stories based off real world events because they are so dark and gloomy that you can't make anything funny out of it? So it's not my Jen stories. It's the Carolanic stories. It's my Galactic News Network stories. You know, where I'm parodying news stories to make them. And you know, at the beginning, when there was like all of that ridiculousness of like, we're setting English to be the only language and blah, blah, blah. You know, back when it was just like stupid stuff like that, it was fine. But now it's like stupid stuff, while bad, was just stupid. Gulf of Coruscant, right? Like, all of the stuff with the Department of Imperial Efficiency. You know, all of those things were funny. Like, they were stupid. They were hurting people, yes. But, like, again, the whole thing was just super ridiculousness, right? And then, now we come to everything that's been happening, and it's like, that's not funny. Like, there's nothing there. That's not funny. That's not. If ICE was going around and like, okay, let's say that Imperial Security, if they were going around and they were using like drones or something, and the drones kept crashing into buildings or something like that, that's funny. But like, what's happened, I can't make it funny. Like, I cannot make it funny. Like, to me, it would be, I'll wipe a whole civilization off the map sounds like something that Palpatine did. I mean, he did that. Look at Gorman. Palpatine did that. Well, not Palpatine so much as, Tarkin. It's very Tarkin doctrine, if I'm being honest. What happened this week was very Tarkin doctrine. Geonosis, Camino, I mean, there's any number of planets that the Tarkin Doctrine just wiped off the face of the star map. Mandalore. I mean, look what happened to Mandalore. He turned the Empire turned the surface of Mandalore to glass. Right? From all of the charges they dropped. But well, no, they opened the trade routes. That was last night, but then today, because the Separatists apparently still are also available, started bombing the next system over, so now it's closed again. And I don't know. Like, but that's the thing, is like, we can make, it's not funny. Like, we're at this point, it's like, it sounds like it's fiction. It sounds like fiction. Like, we can say, like, what he what Palpatine threatened to do was basically do what Palpatine did to Mandalore, which was turn the surface of Mandalore to glass. Just destroy it. Completely wipe it off the completely wipe the planet off the face of the universe. I mean, that's legitimately what he did. That's what Palpatine did to Mandalore. And the thing that's happening now is that, like, that's what we're watching in real time, is like the legitimately horrible things that Palpatine did in real time. And that's the thing, is like, I can't make that funny. I mean, I guess I could make a joke out of it, but it's again, making a joke, it's one thing to make a joke about, you know, the standard language of the Empire becoming basic, right? Or the Stormtrooper Corps is now going to have a warrior ethos. That stuff's funny. Like, it's dumb, and it does hurt people, but it's not like murderous, I guess. It's not violent. You know, I can't make a joke out of it without it being completely and utterly disgusting, I guess, is the way that I put it. So it's not to say that I won't make more Galactic News Network stuff, but like, I think at this point, like, if I do any more Galactic News Network, it's just gonna be like, Palpatine fell asleep in a meeting today. Palpatine was hosting the annual Empire Day. I don't know what would be the equivalent to Easter egg hunts. Easter egg hunt or something, and decided to go off on a tangent about, I don't know, spice, death sticks. So to come out as an ISB operative, yeah. No, because, like, I was gonna make some stuff over, like, the ISB being headed by Noma Reagan. But then, again, everything... like, if they're falling... Like, I could have made a video about the ISB slipping on ice on Hoth. That was funny. That would have been hysterically funny. Okay? Funny. Everything else that the ISB has done, horrible. I can't make it funny. Like, I just can't. I could make a joke about it, but it's disgusting to me. And I can't do that. Like, for my own mental health, I just can't. So that's kind of like where I'm at with Carolanix and why I haven't been, like I said, I have one. It's sitting in my drafts, but I've never posted it. I made a video about Gorman, and it's almost probably 9 months old. I mean, it's old. I mean, last year, this time of the year. And it's about, like, one of the original boat strikes that happened, where there were no casualties, right? We just hit a fisherman's boat. And then I was gonna post it, and then shortly thereafter, that was when we did, like, the Kegseth did the double tap strike thing or whatever. You know, his first war crime. And I stopped making them because it's not funny anymore. Like, Elon was funny. I mean, not funny. He was ridiculous. He was obviously high on something, and he was just ridiculous in the Oval Office and all that nonsense. And yeah, what he did was hurting people, but it was in a ridiculous kind of way. And now we're getting into territory where there's no joke that I could make about like I said, The Tarkin Doctrine was about to happen this week. Yesterday was a good example of the Tarkin Doctrine. So, yeah. The Empire are the good guy? The The Empire is not the good guys. They're the bad guys. The rebels are the good guys. But yeah. So anyway, Luna says she's got to go to bed early, so we'll get to reading. Oh, I got a troll. I missed them. That's okay. I don't have to. I didn't see them. I will say that I kind of want to make something about Artemis. Artemis 2. I did not watch the launch of Artemis 2 because I didn't want to. I'm still traumatized from other people. The other people, I didn't want to I'm still traumatized, right? And I haven't been watching Artemis. I didn't want to watch the Artemis launch because I just didn't want to watch the Challenger in my own again. So I didn't watch it, but I've been following them and everything like that. And I love that they named that crater Carol after the astronaut's wife, and that this is the first woman to go to the moon. This is the first African American to go to the moon. It's super exciting. Yeah, and I know they had a piece of the Challenger on the ship, which made me like, which I saw something. There was another, I can't remember her name, something the Gray. She was talking about how like the Challenger, the souls of the ones from the Challenger protect the ship on launch, and the failed Apollo missions protected them on their way to the moon, and Leica the space dog is protecting them while they're there. And what's the one from the early 2000s that exploded on re-entry? And the souls of that ship are helping protect them on the way home. So yes, the rebels are terrorists. The Empire keeps prosperity, equality, and safety and order through it. Peace, freedom, and security. Yep, I've heard that. I heard that speech. Doesn't make it true, but I definitely have enjoyed like all of those things. Some of the stuff about Artemis too. It's like watching Carpathia edits. Carpathia edits make me cry every single time, especially when it's that song from Hadestown. Oh, that would be funny. Death Star debris jewelry. Alright, chapter 42. This is a fun one. Bleed the Freak. Bleed the Freak, okay. Maul made it back just seconds before the reconfiguration began. He'd just stepped through the hatchway when it sealed shut behind him, the floor and walls already starting to shift. As the now familiar clamor of gears and clockwork filled the air, he turned his gaze upward to where he knew the Warden and the rest of the galactic gambling community would be watching. His involvement in the next bout seemed to be a foregone conclusion. What would it be this time? Fire? Ice? The Sarlacc from the great pit of Carcoon? The cell reeled and swung as the architecture of the prison fell into its newest alignment. Maul held fast to the handgrips of the bench, riding it out. At this point, it didn't really matter what they pitted against him. Now that he'd seen Radique face to face, the cell came to a halt. Maul cocked his head, listening for whatever opponent the algorithm had selected for him. Whatever it was, he would kill it as quickly as possibly and get on with his business at hand. The wall of the cell came open. Maul looked into it, muscles tensing for the attack, and felt all his resolve go swirling away in a sudden rush of bewilderment. The Weak Way stepped out to face him. For a moment he couldn't speak. The Weak Way was walking toward him with the clawbird resting on his shoulder. Maul stared, his senses heightened by the intensity of his shock as the bird lifted one of its talons, shifting its position to reveal the knots of Kippus tied around its feet. You were supposed to die already, Jagannath, the Weequay said. Torn to pieces on the factory floor. I should have finished you myself. He was still coming. Maul was struck again by the ineluctable suspicion that everything that had happened to him since the moment of his arrival here, from the ongoing matches to the riddles of the machines that had nearly ripped into pieces, had all been part of some larger trial or examination overseen by Sidious, and that perhaps now he had arrived at the greatest test of all. Wait, Maul said. I won't kill you. You're right about that. Maul reached up and yanked open his collar to reveal the bundles of credits that he'd stuffed inside his uniform before leaving Nightside. He held them up. 300,000 credits. They're yours. The Weequay didn't answer. Instead, he raised his arm and the bird took flight, arrowing across the cell like a shadow cut loose from the object that cast it. Streaking straight for Maul's face, talons extended, and ducking, Maul swung one fist to knock it aside, and the bird dove down under his arm at the last second and came up screaming, claws fastened to his face, pecking furiously at his eyes. Oh my. Maul grabbed the bird blindly, ripped it from where it had fastened itself to its face, and tried to fling it to the floor, where he could stomp it to death. But it squirmed free and took flight, still cawing and shrieking across the cell in a trail of feathers. He raised his head and wiped his eyes. His vision was a curtain of blood, beyond which the Weequay arose. The vaguest of shapes. It's weird. Though nearer than ever. I know exactly what you are, Radique said, very close. And I know who sent you. He was raising something over his head. Some kind of melee weapon, some dagger or pike whose specifics Maul couldn't immediately discern. Already intent on delivering the death blow. Now I will give you what you deserve. A supernova of pain exploded through Maul's right flank, and his right arm went numb even as he lifted it in an attempt of self-defense. But the paralysis went far deeper than that. For the first time since he'd arrived at Coghive 7, Maul had no idea how to proceed. Killing Radique now would mean the end of his mission, total failure in the eyes of his master and the Sith. Yet anything less would cost him his life. You serve the Bando Gora, the Weequay's voice was saying from somewhere behind the scarlet veil. No, that's not. From behind him, the pounding of wings. Maul reacted on instinct, swinging his left arm back to pluck the clawbird out of the air. His right arm remained useless. Whatever the Weequay had done to him with the melee weapon seemed to have served his control of it, at least temporarily. Gripping one of the bird's wings with his left hand, Maul bit down on the other wing and clamped it between his teeth, spreading them farther apart to their fullest span. Ugh! Keep it disoriented. Work into a frenzy until it cannot tell friend from enemy. It's the only way. The bird fought him with everything it had, twisting and writhing and pecking frantically, screaming in his grasp. Its talons raked his face, carving deep furrows across his cheekbones. But Maul did not let go. He swung it through the air, slashing it across the Weequay's face in a definitive stroke, simultaneously breaking its back while raking the thing's claws over the Weequay's eyes. The bird fell to the floor, a broken thing, its wings protruding at awkward, irrational angles. Maul wiped the blood from his face. At last, his vision began to clear. Stepping back, he raised his left hand in one final attempt to communicate with the Weequay. Hear me, he said. I'm not here representing the Bando Gora. I need to buy a weapon from you. I need... Radique attacked him again, a quick, brutal series of blows to neck and face. They came across almost too fast to register. A fierce storm of blows, and Maul was aware of the floor shifting beneath him, dropping him to his knees. When the Weequay's pike smashed into his skull again, Maul realized that right here and now, in the midst of this crisis, Radique was going to beat him to death. It was going to end here. Master, the uncertainty of it loomed over him, clouding his thoughts. What should I do? How can I... Wham! Another blow, the most vicious one yet, split the thought in half, and Maul dropped to his stomach. He knew that failure would cost him everything, that he would never be able to return to Sidious in the grand plan. And yet... Tastes like porg? What tastes like porg? Maul's thoughts cycled back to his early childhood. Further back than he'd ever dared to reflect, to his earliest training, the endless hostile torture that he'd endured on Megiddo. As painful as it had been, there was knowledge there, a realization that in the end, the galaxy was cold and uncaring, and that would never protect him. And if he was going to survive, it would only be because he would never give up. Never give up. That's right. Not then, Not now. Never. Something broke open inside him, a vein of pure instinct that ran even deeper than his commitment to the mission. On his feet at once, he grabbed the Weequay by his seclusion braids, jerked the other's head back, and thrust his own head forward, driving the horns of his skull against the inmate's throat. Radik's windpipe burst open, splintering beneath the attack. His body fell limp, and Maul released the braids, letting him drop to the floor. And Maul stepped back from the corpse. He stood there for what felt like a long time. It was over. Master, I had no choice. But there was only silence. Uh-oh. He killed the guy he was trying to find. I'm gonna guess, though, that this is like a Dread Pirate Roberts situation. I'm gonna guess it's a Dread Pirate Roberts situation. I'm still going back to the Dread Pirate Roberts situation. It's a Dread Pirate Roberts situation. Or Sidious wanted Radik to be unalived. Maybe that's it. Could be that too. Don't know. It's one of those things. Pretty sure. Of course, I was pretty sure that it was the old man that was Iram Radik and not the Weequay, but, you know. Hey. I'm trying my best here. I'll keep going for Luna. Alright, chapter 43. Keldani Spikes. Oh, sorry, Keldani Spires, not Spikes. Spires. I suppose this means you may congratulate your apprentice, Darth Plagueis observed, on a job well done. Plagueis! He had just turned his attention from the holovid screen to gaze out the window of his penthouse at the top of Keldani Spires, down on the unsuspecting crowds thronging Monument Square far below. On the opposite side of the room, Sidious stood simmering with his fists clenched, the muscles of his jaw tight with anger. He could not discern Plagueis' expression reflected in the glass, nor could he guess his master's thoughts from the tone of his voice. All around them, Plagueis' lavishly appointed penthouse had fallen absolutely silent, a reverential stillness prevailing over the richly brocaded carpeting resonating from the elaborate furnishings, tapestries, and artifacts that adorned the rooms and corridors. Sidious could hear the pounding of his own outraged pulse. They had just finished the hollow of Maul's most recent bout, the first one that they'd watched together, although Sidious had been monitoring each of his apprentice's fights carefully, from the time Maul had first arrived on Coghive 7. Today, without warning or precedent, Plagueis had summoned him here so that they could watch the fight together. It was as if he'd known what would happen. His mission was to assassinate Radik without relying on the Force, Plagueis mused as he turned back to face Sidious. Was it not? I was right! He was supposed to kill him! Wasn't supposed to buy a weapon. Yep. That's what Plagueis wanted. Grand plan. As was so often the case, the elongated grayish-blue face behind the transpirator mask was neither smiling nor frowning. Instead, Damask wore the distant, abstracted expression of a profoundly advanced intellect lost deep in his own counsel. Which means that he's finished there, yes? Ready to be extracted? Sidious managed a single nod. Deep within him the rage grew more intense, and he still did not trust his own voice. And yet, Plagueis said, regarding him thoughtfully, you seem less than pleased. Oh, thank you, Taylor. May the 4th be with you too. Can't talk. With the deliberate effort of a man releasing a clenched fist, Sidious made a conscious effort at composure. He's testing me, examining my motives, and again the question cycled back through his head. How much does he know? Of course I'm pleased, Sidious said, careful to maintain unbroken eye contact with Plagueis as he spoke each word. There would be no indication of treachery here, no hint of the true purpose behind the mission. Maul has done exactly as I requested. Not that I'm questioning you, of course, Plagueis said. As I've said before, your business with the Zabrak, especially when it comes to this sort of thing, is exactly your business. He paused just long enough for Sidious to wonder if this was all, in fact, just a passing remark. The equivalent of an idle thought that passed through a consciousness as heightened as Plagueis's. I do wonder, however, about what might have happened if Maul revealed his true identity as a Sith Lord while still imprisoned in that place. The implication for our plan might prove substantial. Impossible, Sidious said. Maul's loyalty to us is above reproach. Ah! Oh, I poured myself a glass of milk, and that milk is not good. Ah! Ah! He would gladly lay down his life before compromising the secrecy of his mission. Of course, Plagueis shook his head. I just wish to remind you that there are still aspects of this operation that may not be completely under your control. Or mine. For a moment, his expression was sympathetic, indulgence in a way that as a younger man Sidious had once enjoyed, but now, if he was honest, found placatory. Also, almost patronizing. It is painful yet necessary reminder, Darth Sidious. Being such as ourselves, ones who enjoy the promise of nearly unlimited power, live with the paradoxical risk of forgetting that there are some elements of the galaxy that we cannot control. I'll be fine. Are you suggesting that the mission was a miscalculation from the beginning? Such speculation is meaningless now. Plagueis waited again, and Sidious sensed him closing in on his final point. Now I suppose my true purpose, looking back on what has already happened, is to question why you felt it necessary to go to such elaborate lengths, taking inordinate chances that might potentially leave our plans vulnerable, in order to find this arms dealer. Sidious said nothing. Unless there is something else that you had intended for him, Plagueis finished. As I said, Sidious began, the assassination of Iram Radique was necessary in order to further our ultimate goals with the grand plan. He paused, deliberately leaving the explanation unfinished, long enough to observe whether Damask might be interested in hearing more of the cover story, which had been carefully fabricated to hold up to the most intense scrutiny, if necessary. At no point in the operation could the Mune be allowed to speculate that Sidious had truly sent Maul to Coghive 7 in order to purchase the nuclear device that the Bando Gora would ultimately use against Plagueis. Such a possibility, even now, was inconceivable. But Plagueis had already waved aside the explanation, and then, as quickly as it had appeared, the casual tone was gone. Gazing back at the holoscreen where he had watched the contest, his mood darkened. He is a prideful one, the Zabrak, is he not? As excellent as he is in combat. It must be incredibly difficult for him to show restraint in not using the Force. He had experience in such restraint, Sidious reminded him, although he knew where the discussion was leading now and saw little purpose in defending Maul at this point. I do not doubt it. It would be a great shame, however, if instead of merely killing the arms dealer, Maul had inadvertently revealed more about his identity, and the identity of those who sent him. Plagueis was staring at him directly now. In fact, I would venture to say that such an unfortunate turn of events would prove to be extremely humbling for its original architects. Humbling. The word plunged to the pit of Sidious's stomach and lay there like a rock. I will take measures to personally ensure that such a thing never happens, he said stiffly. Have a good night, Taylor! Plagueis didn't say anything for a long time. When he spoke again, the voice in which he answered was low but firm. Contact the Zabrak, he said. Inform him that he is to destroy Coghive 7 immediately, eradicating all evidence of our plans there. He paused. If you wish, you may allow him to think that he will have the opportunity to escape. Sidious drew in a breath and held it. The muscles of his diaphragm felt uncannily unstrung. Over the past few minutes, the tension that had gathered within the penthouse had left him feeling suffocated, as if the oxygen content within these walls had been slowly but steadily drained. Is there anything else, then? Hi, King! Nothing pressing, Plagueis said. I do enjoy our conversations, Darth Sidious. There is no one else with whom I know I can be completely and totally candid. Let us not wait so long until the next meeting. Certainly not. Sidious nodded and, making his goodbyes, found his way out, hearing the hatch seal and lock itself behind him. Humbling. The word was still there, twisting in his guts like poison. By the time he reached the turbolifts leading down through the tower to the main lobby, he was breathing normally again and shaking, and the shaking within his chest was almost completely gone. We're getting there. Which, since we are so close to the end, I need to order the next book. Oh, thank you for the bear! Oh, that's so cute. Oh, thank you, Oliver. Oh, let me log in. Aw, thank you. All right. Next book is Queen's Peril. By E.K. Johnston. Yep. I already have books in my cart. What books do I have in my cart? Oh, Bearing an Hourglass. Oh. I don't need to buy Holes anymore. Yes. This has been a very good book. But I want to buy Bearing an Hourglass because I read On a Pale Horse. And I want to read the other books of that series by Piers Anthony. So kind of want to read A Spell for Chameleon too. I tried to read that one a couple times and I never. It's the Xanth series. Yeah, I'm gonna add that to the cart. It's only $4. 1980s and 1970s mass market paperbacks. Magic Kingdom for sale. So, Queen's Peril is not Legends Timeline. What? No, they are $4. So, cause Luna, I'm on thrift books, so I'm looking at used books. I'm not buying new books. This is a used book, which is why the spine was broken. I did not break the spine. I'm just putting that out there. I did not break the spine on the book. The spine was already broken when I bought it. Because I'm buying used books to be more fiscally responsible. But yeah, mass market paperbacks from the 70s and 80s. They're $4. $4 on thrift books. I don't ever remember new books being that cheap. But yeah, so Queen's Peril is technically not part of the Legends timeline. It's part of modern canon. Because well, we're going through the Legends timeline, but I really want to read that book and I kind of want to read it in the order that we're going. So yeah. I'm gonna read that book because I want to read it and it's my stream and I can do what I want. So, yep. We're gonna read a new story after MAUL lockdown. So after MAUL lockdown is gonna be Queen's Peril, and then I'm sorry, Omni, we really gotta read Phantom Menace because I've been promising that one. But after Phantom Menace, we'll read one of the books you gave me, even though it's completely out of the timeline. We're gonna read another Legends book after, which I might see. One of those things I might do is I might throw in, what's the book with Anakin and Obi-Wan? I can't remember off the top of my head. What's the name? Brotherhood. I might throw Brotherhood into the list. Again, it's technically not Legends timeline. I get that. It's canon timeline. But I really want to read Brotherhood all the way through, so I feel like by next con. Alright, fine. So that might be something that I want to do. I might do Brotherhood and throw Brotherhood in the mix. Because what comes after Phantom Menace? I'd have to look up when Brotherhood is. I know Brotherhood is before Clone Wars, or before Attack of the Clones. There's the Legends timeline. So there's Rogue Planet, Outbound Flight, and the Approaching Storm, and then Attack of the Clones. So I gotta find out where Brotherhood falls in the timeline, and I probably will throw Brotherhood in there as well. And then I have to look and see where, what's the one after Queen's Peril? Queen's Shadow. Which I think I own Queen's Shadow. I don't know if Queen's Shadow takes place before Attack of the Clones, during Attack of the Clones, or after Attack of the Clones. I'll have to find out. Oh, the Star Wars Disney canon novel series. Oh, it doesn't show them in order, though. So yeah, I will probably add Brotherhood into the list because I can. There's a couple of these books that I want to read. Let's see. Not just the movie books. Alliances, Bloodline, Aftermath, Master and Apprentice, Leia, Princess of Alderaan, Life Debt, Catalyst, Thrawn Treason, Dark Disciple. Oh, I want to read all of these books. There are just not enough hours in the day. Plus, I started a new spicy book, which is not so spicy as of yet, but apparently we'll get there. Before she arrived at the Senate. So, does Queen's Shadow, does that like lead up to where Corday gets killed on the platform, I'm guessing? Thank you, Autumn. Am I guessing that's where that one takes place? I mean, if that's the case, fine. I'll thank you for the follow. So yeah. If that's the case, then I first have to figure out where Brotherhood falls in the books that are already on there, and then I guess before we read Attack of the Clones, I will read Queen's Shadow. So there's Phantom Menace, then Rogue Planet, Outbound Flight, and the Approaching Storm. And I will have to look up and see where. Okay, so I'll. Okay. Once we read the Phantom Menace, which is not actually going to take that long because that book is not particularly long. It's actually kind of short. Once we finish the Phantom Menace, I will figure out what the next book is because I got to figure out the timeline if we add Queen's Shadow and Brotherhood into the list of that, into the Legends timeline. I think it's just fun because we're learning like we're getting so much more of the story, right? Like the behind the scenes stuff that like you're like, oh, now that thing that we saw in the film makes so much more sense because we read the book. Like, learning about Plagueis and, like, his grand master plan of Plagueis, definitely changes the way I watch the prequels. And then, like, all of this stuff with MAUL, reading all these books about MAUL, it definitely changes how I view MAUL. In the case of, like the Phantom Menace and, like, how he was in Clone Wars and now with the new show, like, you can kind of see that, like, where his motivations come from, right? It's not just that he's evil, it's that he's been manipulated his entire life to be that guy. Like, he was manipulated his entire life to be Sidious's apprentice, to help bring about the grand plan of the Sith. And then, after the events of the Phantom Menace, Sidious just cast him aside. Right? That's pretty damaging when your entire life up until that point was serving Sidious. So, I mean, it definitely makes it more interesting. Priest at mass, let us pray. Rabbit in the pew, let us pray. So I'm kind of enjoying the books because we're seeing, like, how much Sidious manipulated Maul. And like, how he pulled all the strings. Like, it's just, I think all this stuff is also seeing just all of the ways that the strings have been pulled to bring about the grand plan of the Sith, to bring about the Empire. Like, there was so many strings being pulled behind the scenes that we never get to see. So I've definitely enjoyed that about excuse me, about the books. He manipulated Vader too. He did. 100%. Like, I think Sidious, I almost want to say that Sidious is worse than Plagueis. Like, Plagueis was just like, we're gonna bring about the grand plan of the Sith. Right? Sidious was just, or not Plagueis. Plagueis was gonna bring, like, we're just gonna bring the grand plan of the Sith. We're gonna overtake the Jedi. He was, like, much more classic, I just want to do evil things kind of a guy. Whereas Sidious was all about his own power. Like, Sidious was just trying to raise his own power, I guess. That made it worse. So, I don't know. Plagueis is by far a less of an awful Sith than Sidious. Sidious was diabolical. Sidious was evil. Plagueis, I mean, Plagueis was evil too, but different kind of evil. Revenge of the Sith Anakin is so handsome. You know, yes, but I'm still partial to my Attack of the Clones Anakin. And you know, animated Anakin? Clone Wars Anakin? Whew. Oh, Lord have mercy. To imagine oh my gosh, if Hayden Christensen had voiced Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars TV show, oh my gosh. Not to say that Matt Lanter did a bad job. Matt Lanter did a perfectly wonderful job. Matt Lanter is a very wonderful human being and all that. But, Clone Wars Anakin. And let me tell you, the Ahsoka show and seeing Clone Wars Anakin, ooh. I like to write some fan fiction about that. I don't think Palpatine intended to have a successor. I think Palpatine intended to rule the galaxy forever. Kind of like Palpatine now. More AO3. I asked for permission if I could write the sequel to that one that I was telling you guys about yesterday that I really, really like, that I don't want you guys to judge me on the content. Who played Anakin in Return of the Jedi? I don't remember the name of the actor. Oh! Hayden Christensen! He was an Anakin actor in Return of the Jedi if you watch the remastered version. Just saying. Should have been more specific. He was! He was in Return of the Jedi. Technically. Oh, yeah. Well, you know. That's... On one hand, because I love my Hayden Christensen, I liked that re-edit. At the same time, though, I thought it was disrespectful to the original Anakin actor to, like, remove him from that moment. Right? Because, like, when we see Obi-Wan at the end of the film, it's Sir Alec Guinness Obi-Wan. They didn't, like, remaster Sir Alec Guinness Obi-Wan into Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan. So, like, I feel like that they should have left the original Anakin actor, Sebastian Shaw. Sebastian Shaw? So, like, as much as I love Hayden Christensen, I love seeing him again, and I will always accept more Hayden Christensen. At the same time, General Veers is your Star Wars crush? I mean, if I had to pick an Imperial to have a crush on, it would not be Veers. Not Veers. Mm-mm. See, if I had to pick an Imperial to have a crush on. Okay, let me ask this. If I have to pick an Imperial that I have a crush on, can I pick thank you for the follow. Can I pick do I have to pick original trilogy Imperials, or can I pick from other Imperials? Because if I can pick from any Empire other than Vader, because Vader is Anakin, so because I like Anakin, I also therefore like Vader. But if I have to pick an Imperial officer, and I can pick from anywhere, I pick Miro. As far as, like, if I can pick and have a good night, Luna. Yeah, if I can pick any Imperial officer to have a crush on, I pick Miro. But if I have to pick from original Imperials from the original trilogy, Piet, probably. No, actually, I don't know his name. But the Imperial officer from the beginning of Return of the Jedi that goes, inform the commander that Lord Vader has arrived. That guy from the very beginning of Return of the Jedi, I always thought he was kind of cute. I don't know his name or nothing, but he was always kind of cute. But if I had to pick a named one, Piet, probably. Maybe Thrawn. Animated Thrawn and, like, Thrawn from the books. Not Mickelson Thrawn. Not live action Mickelson Thrawn. I was not a fan of live action Mickelson Thrawn. They could have done a lot better with that. This is one of those ones where I get super judgmental on Disney because I have seen better makeup and costuming skills out of a 501st member than they did on the Ahsoka show. And that always bugs me that I know someone who is an amateur cosplayer who did it at home who does a better job at makeup, who just learned to do it from a YouTube video than somebody at Disney who uses professional makeup artists. And like, I'm looking at it in harsh lighting, and they look a lot better than you can get with all of that money and all of that professional teams. Yeah, that's my one complaint sometimes, is like when I watch I get very um judgmental with the live action shows, I guess is the way to put it sometimes, because of just like, again, I've seen before live action Thrawn, I saw a girl, no less, a girl do who entered the 501st as Thrawn, and she was able to really get the contouring on the mark that she literally looked like animated Thrawn. I mean, she just perfect makeup. And I guess, and then when I watch something like the Ahsoka show, and I'm like, that's mediocre at best. You have professional makeup artists. You have a team of professional makeup artists who can airbrush that crap on. You can do the lighting. You can CGI it. Like, you have all the tools at your disposal to make that look perfect. And it just turns out kind of eh. And meanwhile, somebody in their basement in fluorescent lighting was able to do a better job. Like, that always drives me nuts when I watch the live action stuff, because I'm like, I know somebody who can do that with a hot glue gun better than Disney did it with their $1 million, like the Ahsoka show, or Mandalorian season 2. The first time we saw Ahsoka, the Montrails on Ahsoka, they upset me, because yeah, Live Thrawn looked like pudgy Data. His skin was very flat. Like, they should have done contouring. Like, it just didn't look right. Like, they have all the opportunity, they have all that money and all that expertise to make it perfect, and they flubbed it. But the Ahsoka show, not the Ahsoka show, Mandalorian season 2, the first time we saw live action Ahsoka with Rosario Dawson, it bugged me, because I knew somebody who was a poor college student who made better Montrails than Disney did. And again, Disney has all that money, all that time, all that expertise that they can use to make Montrails that look good, look perfect. And even if it doesn't look perfect when you're filming it, they have the ability, they have the expertise, they have the all of the tools to fix it in post, right? To make it perfect. And like the Montrails that Ahsoka had in the Mandalorian show, the part that drove me nuts was that they bent and they had wrinkles in them in a way that, like, that it was poor quality. They did not make her Montrails right. And knowing somebody who made Montrails in their dorm room that looked better than what Disney had, with some silicone over stockings, like women's stockings, and some stuffing, that's where I get a little critical of Disney when it comes to their costuming, because I'm like, I as a 501st member or Rebel Legion or Mandalorian Mercs am held at a higher standard than what Disney puts on screen. That bugs me sometimes, because I'm like, you have money and time and effort. Get one of the 501st members to do it. Like, if Disney is not going to take that kind of care and consider, like, I don't even know if Disney's going to take kind of care, but if Disney's not, and I say this and I love you, Disney, and please make me an official character. Let me be a Disney influencer. That you know, if somebody is going to, if Disney's going to have all that money and all that power and all that stuff, like, I expect them to do better quality than what I am required to do for the 501st at home, right? The costuming requirements for the 501st and the Mandalorian mercs are better than Disney puts on screen or even puts on their print media. Because, like, the Mandalorian Season 3 posters? Oh, my goodness. Oh, no, your phone's gonna die. That poster, there was exposed Velcro. There was exposed Velcro on that poster. Exposed Velcro. I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to have exposed Velcro in my apps photos. When I do my Mandalorian apps photos, like you're telling me that you didn't have a single person who could just like go over that quick and look at it? And Filoni knows. I think we might see more like taps to the 501st. I'm hoping we see more taps from the 501st, and the Mandalorian mercs, because like the shows are getting so much recognition. I don't know if that's the right word. Travel to Dulles and back. Stop at Quantico. Hey! If you go to Dulles, that's near where my creepy coworker is. He's at Dulles. Well, near Dulles. You wanna don't go after the creepy coworker. I thought he was done, by the way. He hadn't said anything to me since I went up there, and I thought like, oh, maybe he's done. You won't even maul him. So yeah, the forehead is strong with this one. Do I have a big forehead? I don't think I have a big forehead. I'm all like, I didn't think I have a big forehead. But he called me cute last week, so I guess he's not off of his whatever he's on. I don't know why. I don't know what. I don't know. Anyway. It is 11:11. Make a wish, and I think I'm going to end the stream. Big head, narrow jaw. Okay. I have a round face. Or an oval face. I don't even know what kind of face I have. I don't even know. Anyway, I will see you guys all tomorrow. I think. I'm supposed to go roller skating tomorrow. I'm supposed to chaperone a roller skating trip tomorrow, so I don't know what time I'll be back from that. I'm hoping it's before 10 p.m. I don't think I can stay up that late roller skating for that long. You're welcome, Oliver. I mean, if you ever have any questions about the 501st, I can certainly try and answer them or direct you to the people who can. Same thing goes for Rebel Legion or the Mandalorian Mercs or the Droid Builders. I pretty much know all of them. Because I've been working on costumes for years. But anyway, I'm gonna work on my armor on Saturday. That'll be fun. So, hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good day. Love you. Bye. And same thing goes for you guys over on the tube and on the Twitch.